What's up guys, OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some awesome information for you guys. But before we get into anything, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now starting off, we have this Nintendo Switch Sports Online Plays Test registration being open for people to hop in and test out the game. Pretty cool stuff there, right? But there's something kind of weird going on with it, and we'll dissect maybe why that is the case in just a bit. But let's go ahead and get into this here. For those who don't know, Nintendo did announce in the Nintendo Direct last week that you will be able to test out the new Nintendo Switch Sports Online game, where you can play various different sports with your friends over the internet, and you'll be able to download an essential demo for it and play, which is awesome. For those in North America, you can register first on My Nintendo. I'll have a link for you guys, check it out, and then you can download it so you can get everything. However, one of the things that's stated in the actual fine text for all of this is that you cannot share any of the gameplay or the images on social media at all. So you won't be able to, or at least they're telling you not be able to, like, let's say show you playing the game or show some of the customization or any of that other stuff. Now, more interestingly enough, the share button is not disabled on the Nintendo Switch when you play this game, according to Nintendo on Twitter, which is really weird because you can do that. Heck, you can even filter it on and off depending on the scene that's happening. So for example, in games like Shin Megami Tensei or even Pokemon Legends Arceus, during, like, let's say the end of the game, it doesn't allow you during cutscenes to spoil the game and put it up there on social media. So take the pictures or take video. Or some games just allow you not to have video at all or use the capture button at all, but that's still enabled here. So it seems like they forgot to do that, because it seems weird that you would have that option available in terms of being able to do it and not disable it, but then say, no, you can't share at all. Also, on top of that, I'm not sure if the social media, in terms of what you have for social media, like Twitter or anything, or YouTube, is linked to your actual Nintendo Switch. So they wouldn't be able to know whose is what. I mean, they could DMCA whatever post that you have if they see it. They could do that, but that seems like it would take quite a bit of work of people actually looking to see and scanning the internet to see what pictures are up and all that, especially if there's no hashtags or any easy way to find it. YouTube, it's a bit easier, I guess, but yeah, that'd be difficult to do. But either way, it's kind of weird. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what's going on there or why at the end of the day. Maybe because it's very early, or they don't want people saying, oh my gosh, it doesn't work at all, or it's broken, or whatever the case is, well before the game comes out. Or maybe that they're planning like another one later down the line where it's going to be more polished. I'm not really sure. I haven't tested it out myself. I don't really know. All I know is that it just seems a bit weird. I haven't seen that yet for any type of demo that Nintendo's done, unless I didn't read it and they did have that. But I don't recall that being a thing for anything else Nintendo's done in the Nintendo Switch life at this point when it comes to a test fire for like Splatoon or any other type of demo that they have online beforehand. I think that like ARMS had that or something like that. I know that there was multiple ones that they've done before where you can test it out before it launches online to kind of test out like the online play and all of it. So it is what it is on that front. So you can't share it, can't stream it, I guess, can't do any of that. So what are your thoughts on this? Is that kind of weird? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, now moving on to the next topic. The Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS eShops are closing in late March. Now, I made a video on this yesterday, so obviously all the full details are there. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have seen it in various videos, or you've seen it on Twitter or different social media. But yes, it is coming to a close, and I think that it's good that we're going to talk about it again, because I just want to make sure that everybody is informed on what is happening with this. Now, the eShops will be closing in late March, and it affects a variety of different things, but not absolutely everything. So the Cliff Notes version of this is saying that, hey, you won't be able to download any type of Wii U or the Nintendo 3DS games at all. However, you can still play games online on these systems. So the servers or the networks are still going to be up for a variety of the games here. So you will be able to do that. Also, downloadable content or updates still will be available. So if you've downloaded something before, it'll be in your download history. You'll be able to retrieve that. This is all happening by late March 2023. So you have about 1 year, a little bit over 1 year as of the time that I'm recording this video, to get what you want if you decide to go through there and purchase it. So that's essentially the gist of it. And I wanted to go over a few different things when it comes to games to maybe look at that are rare. Now, CheapED put this out there on Twitter, and I wanted to go over some of those games. So he put up a thread talking about it. Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright on the Nintendo 3DS. That's $29.99. eBay usually goes for $90 to $150. The Shin Megami Tensei game, Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse on the Nintendo 3DS, $29.99 via the eShop. eBay, it's upward of $80. That price could skyrocket as well. Fire Emblem Fates Revelations on the Nintendo 3DS. The DLC is $20. You can get it via GameStop if you want. Also on eBay, the special edition only has the DLC on cartridge, and it's around $200 to $500. So yeah, it's pretty expensive. So you definitely want to make sure that you pick that one up. Also on the Nintendo 3DS, you have Dragon Quest VIII Journey of the Cursed King for $39.99. Via the Humble Bundle, you can pick up that. On eBay, if you want it physical, it is $65 to $93. Also, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoners Soul Hackers for the Nintendo 3DS. It's $19.99 via the eShop, but eBay, it's $40 to $90. Also, Monster Hunter Stories on the Nintendo 3DS. It's $39.99 via the eShop, but on eBay, it's anywhere between $40 to $65. Rhythm Thief and the Emperor's Treasure on the Nintendo 3DS, $20 via the eShop, eBay, $90 to $120. Now, moving to the Wii U, there are some Wii U virtual console stuff as well. So obviously all the different virtual console games on there, but also on the Wii U, there's a bunch of like stuff like Metroid Prime Trilogy, also Super Mario Galaxy 2. There's a litany of games on there via the Wii eShop and also via just the download sections, the virtual console sections. There's just a lot of stuff that you might want to check out on there. But yeah, Metroid Prime Trilogy could be the one that you might want to look at the most. Now remember, full downloads aren't available on the Wii U when it comes to Wii games, but of course there's plenty of Wii U games, and Xenoblade Chronicles X would probably be the biggest one in terms of what I'm looking at to check out if you haven't already got it. Physical copies are around. You can still find physical copies for not too bad of a price, especially if it's the regular edition, but you never know what's going to happen with Xenoblade Chronicles X. You don't know if Nintendo's going to port that to the Nintendo Switch, so it might be a good idea to hop into there and get it before these prices skyrocket out there, because it looks like they definitely will be going up with all of this happening here. So what are your thoughts on this, guys, when it comes to the Wii U and 3DS eShops closing? I know for me, I'm not going to front when it comes down to it. I don't have a ton of time to play old games, so I don't really spend a lot of time playing old games or downloading all of them or anything like that. I remember when Sony decided to close, or at least announced that they're closing the PS3 and PS Vita and PSP stores, there was a big outrage and backlash. I mean, I wasn't really doing all that. I was like, okay, well, they're doing this. This is what you get, or this is what's available before they close this down. I remember answering questions on the Spawncast, but I didn't really go crazy or anything. Like, all this stuff, it's going to happen at some point, but I understand people's frustration when it comes down to like the 3DS or like the Wii U and all that. Clearly people aren't using these eShops anymore, but I think it's more about a game preservation thing, actually having all this available. I would love to see the actual costs associated with this when it comes down to keeping it available, and see if there's something that anybody could do to make sure that they stay up. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But if you're someone who definitely wants to see these games, or if you have certain games that you want to get, definitely now is the time to get that done. But what are your thoughts overall on all of this, and what games do you plan on picking up? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, now moving on to the next topic. This is one of the weirdest things that I have seen for a major company, especially from the big three, to do when it comes to pricing of games and in this era. Now, a lot of the times you see the free upgrades with Xbox to where you get a game and it comes on the Xbox or the Xbox Series. It's no problem. It's very easy to do. Smart delivery gives you the best one. There's some drawbacks, right? Because you download the game. It's not actually physically on the disc. When it comes to a lot of the Xbox games, it's like the Xbox One version, then you download the Xbox Series version. So there are some issues. There are some DRM stuff, right? Because now you need the actual online in order to get it done. But at the end of the day, at least they deliver that. But the way that Sony is doing Horizon Forbidden West on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 is so awkward to the point to where it almost seems like they're trying to just get $10 from the uninformed people out there that are just willing to click on the first thing that they see. Now, this is all digitally. Physical, it makes more sense when it comes to what we're talking about because the physical discs of the PS4 and the PS5 are different. The PS5 actually has the game on there. You're not downloading anything on top of that when it comes to it. And the way that Sony works, because the PS4 and PS5 are actual different systems, it is very different from how Microsoft does things at this point, and it's caused some issues, as you guys are going to see right about here, to the point to where it looks like Sony is just trying to get $10 out of the uninformed people with Horizon Forbidden West. Now, if you guys remember, there was the whole debacle with Sony promising a free upgrade for Horizon. Then they kind of said, nope, you don't get that with certain ones. Then there was backlash. Then they changed their mind. But now when you look at it, when it comes to Horizon Forbidden West digitally, if you go on the PSN store page, you see that it's $69.99 for the standard edition on the PS4 and the PS5. Pretty cool, right? You see all that. But if you scroll down just a little bit, it says standard edition. Okay, so you have the same standard edition, Horizon Forbidden West PS4, $59.99 digital upgrade to the PS5 version. And then you have standard edition PS4, PS5, Horizon Forbidden West PS5 and PS4, $69.99. So this right here makes absolutely no sense. It's essentially the same thing, the same exact thing, all digital, yet they're saying, give us $10 more. Like, here, just give us $10 more on this. This is confusing for customers out there. Hoeg Law did a very good video on that. He's a lawyer who talks about video game related stuff. Did a very good video on it. And I wanted to make sure that I put this out as just an announcement like, hey, if you're buying the game digitally, at least, not physical, makes sense because it's the PS5 version. If you buy it on PS5, I think you are enabled to get like the PS4 version, but you have to download it. PS5 version is on that Ultra Blu-ray disc. So that makes sense in the PS5 box label and all that. But this just seems really weird because it's the digital version and they could have just made it $59.99 across the board since they're giving the free upgrade. But for some reason, they're just trying to get $10 out of people for no exact reason, considering it's all the same thing. So this makes absolutely no sense to me. There's no reason to actually buy digitally the $70 PS5 version of the game when you can pay $60 and get the same exact thing on your PS4 and also on your PS5 with no differences whatsoever. So it does seem like they're trying to get $10 off of the uninformed because they could have just made this $59.99 for this one because this is the last one, right? Gran Turismo and also the other games, you're gonna have to pay $10 to upgrade. I think even like Ghost of Tsushima, you have to pay for that one. So this is the last one. They could have just done that to where it's not confusing for consumers out there because you're probably wondering, well, wait a minute, why is this $70 and why is this one $60? I get the same thing, but they put digital upgrade to PS5 version and they say PS4, PS5. So some people that are less informed might just click on that $70 digital edition and pay $10 extra for no reason. Once again, it's not the $10. It's not the fact that I'm trying to complain about that. If it's worth $70 for people, then it's clearly worth $70. I have no problem with that. The pricing of games and what you think it's worth or not is subjective, and I have no issues with that whatsoever. The issue that I have is the fact that the issue that I have is the placing, the fact that you have to scroll down a little bit, the fact that they're not saying, hey, there's no differences between this, yet they're still trying to get $10 from it. It'd be the equivalent of Nintendo having, let's say, Nintendo Switch Online and the N64 games and some of the other stuff that you get, and it's $50, but then you can get also the same thing for the $20 price tier, and then just saying, okay, well, here's the $50 one, but it's like, wait a minute, you can get the same thing for the $20 one, and it's like, okay, yeah, but no, it's like, yeah, but it's still different, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but we're still going to charge the extra, so it doesn't make any sense for this to be the way that it is right now currently. I think that they're still just trying to set a precedent in terms of how, hey, PS5, $70 for the games, so I understand that. But in this case, it just ends up being confusing for the customer out there and ends up being nothing when it comes to digitally. Once again, physical, I understand. In stores, I understand. But this here makes no sense to me. But it is what it is. Wanted to make sure that you guys understand what is going on with this. But what are your thoughts on all of it when it comes to Horizon Forbidden West? Are you excited for the game coming out this week? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic here, guys. We've got a Cyberpunk update. Here we go again. So Cyberpunk 2077 is now available for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series alongside a free trial. Developer CD Projekt Red announced users who own the PS4 and Xbox One versions can upgrade to the newest versions free of charge. Now, the version 1.5 update is also not available across all platforms, including the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, Steam, Epic Games, GOG, and Stadia. The free trial, which is only available on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, includes all of the updates introduced in the version 1.5 update and lets you play Cyberpunk 2077 for 5 hours from the beginning of the game. Now, here is a little bit basic overview of what's going on. There's like a lot of different stuff here with the new weapons, additional apartments, hairdressing mirror, rebalance of gameplay, economy and loot systems, ray traced local shadows, various visual quality improvements, spatial headphone audio, improved crowd reactions, DualSense controller features. There's a bunch of stuff here. So much stuff here that I almost thought of going back and checking out the update and seeing if it's any better. I played the PS5 version of the game when it launched, and it was a disaster. There was issues. I had all sorts of times where like the controller wouldn't respond properly. It just wasn't very inducive. The UI, there just wasn't a lot there for me, at least from a gameplay perspective. It wasn't as fun as I thought that maybe it could be based off of the hype. Now, I didn't hype it myself. I just wanted to check it out, and I got a review code for it. So I was like, all right, let me check it out. But it ended up not being a game that was too good. Now, the reviews on this are mixed at this point. Some people are really liking it. Some people are still saying that it's still not that good of a game. But it's up to you to decide whether you feel that it's good or not. I know that I might head back into it, I might not. I just don't know at this point. But those are the updates that you get. Those are the improvements. And a lot of people bought this game. So I'm guessing that a lot of people are going to check this out. So what are your thoughts on this when it comes to everything that we discussed here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.